Hello and welcome to Hixxy Studio. In this video, I'm going to show you how to make this this card using Julie Hickey's Garden Blooms stamp set. And we're going to use a little bit of masking and stenciling and some Cosmic Shimmer watercolour, the pearlescent inks. And I've got one that isn't, so I've got a little bit of Pixie Sparkle highlights to go in that, and then I've got 3 distress oxides. This is what we're going to use to create this card, and it is, apart from the sentiment, which obviously is an addition, it's all one layer. There is no other layering. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to stamp the image onto my piece of card. Okay, so I've got the stamp in my stamp press. I'm just gonna remove a little bit of the ink and then reposition it for my piece of card, which I've got yellow on, but we'll go with this side, that's okay. So that in there, and I'm going to just turn it around this way while I position the stamp. So I'm taking it off of there because that was for a different project, and I pretty much want to put it centrally, like so. Okay, and then I'm just going to bring the platform down. And before I actually ink this up, I'm just going to make sure that I have some embossing powder and my little piece of paper. Yeah, and I'm using versafine Claire to stamp this. So make sure that I've got a good coverage of ink on my stamp. So once this is stamped, I am going to mask it. Now, I'll show you in a minute. I've had a bit of a mare with my mask. I'll explain what's happened. I haven't used. I do use sort of the mask it sheets a lot, but the technique I wanted to do here, I just felt that that mask it was too just need a little bit there, too thin, and I ran the risk of sort of, I got all that, a little bit more on there. Yes, it would be too thin. Because I want to, I don't want to stamp over it. I want to ink over it. Before I do anything else, I just want to get some embossing powder on my image. I can grab my piece. I can close that without worrying for the moment. Okay, let's bring this in and make sure we've got, please excuse the bits in my embossing powder. It's coming to the end of its life. It's done very well. So I'm just tapping the back to get rid of any excess. I forgot to use my what did I forget to use? My anti-static pads. So, and if you can see, I've got a little bit of powder that's stuck here. Ooh, there's quite a lot of powder. It's quite a lump of powder. Might be there was a little bit of water or something on there. This is why it's a good idea to use your anti-static bag, and then you won't be doing what I'm doing now and having to go in with a paintbrush, like here. Because what I'm doing now is I'm going in with this paintbrush, but you can also see I'm lifting in certain places where I don't want it lifted. So, lesson learned, use an anti-static bag. And I'm going to keep going with this, and you'll see what happens, because what it's going to do when I'm painting in a moment, it's going to repel, because I'm using a water-based ink, and it will repel. It will give a little bit of a different effect. Yeah, so let's have a look. So I'm going to let the heat gun heat up a little bit before we put it on. Probably shouldn't do what I do. I'm just sort of feeling it from a distance, and you can feel when it gets hot enough. And then we're going to put it on. The card does buckle a bit, because you are essentially, all card has moisture in it. And if you have, if it's stored in a particular place where there's a lot of moisture, it'll have a lot of moisture in it. So what you're doing by heating it like this is driving out moisture in the areas where you're putting the heat on, and that's what causes it to buckle. But I think we're okay, right. So turn that off. And I'm just going to let that cool down while I explain my disaster of a mask. So I used craft card to create my mask, and you can see it's all in bits. Some of that was deliberate, because it was easier to cut out in bits. But I've used a temporary adhesive on the back, and I thought, oh, that's fine. I can store it on a piece of acetate. But you can see that some of it has just stuck to the acetate. So, yeah, but we're going to go ahead with it anyway, because it will still do the job that I wanted to do. So this is now cooled down. So I'm going to place my mask on, and fiddle around with it till I've got it in the best coverage that I can. And you can see these sort of bits ripped, but that's okay too. Goes over that one there. That needs to come across a little bit there, and then that one out a little bit. Okay, let's see where this bit goes. I think, no, this is this bit over here. Now I have the bits I've not bothered at all about are these stalks, and also the little sort of fronds that have got berries on. I've not bothered with those either, because quite honestly, life was too short. Okay, so that's there, and then, oh, and I seem to be missing a piece completely. Ooh, now that's interesting. What's happened to that? Bear with me a moment, because we could have a little bit of this bit's up here. So let me check in my box and see if it's got something. Not in there. Where's it gone? Okay, I'm not gonna stress about this. What we're gonna do is I am going to stamp it very quickly onto a piece of paper and just cut that bit out. I need to do it, because otherwise the technique won't work, but it's just unfortunate. I told you I was having a disaster with the mask, but let's not worry. Let's grab something to stamp onto. I will just do it on a piece of copy of paper for the speed. Grab my platform. Best laid plans and all that jazz. Yeah, I'm not sure. Maybe it was just a bad choice of card to make the mask from, but yeah, it really hasn't seemed to like it. Now it's that bit really that I want. So I'm just going to concentrate my ink there. And put it back in. We'll just do a little bit of fussy cutting. Little scissors. So you can see what I'm doing is I'm just creating a mask now for this bit here. Okay. So let's get our scissors in and do, first of all, a very rough cut around it. Now what I don't need this bit, so I need this bit. I don't need these stems here. So I'm coming round. On the actual bits, I'm coming fairly close. On those stems around the middle, I've kind of left a little bit of an additional sort of width. Otherwise, it's just all individual leaves. So there. So I don't need that bit, do I? So I'm going to come up here. And we're going to go around here. And it is worth, well, there's two ways of looking at this. I will need to go in with a paintbrush, I know that. The more I can cut in, the less I will have to do that, which is why some of it was in different bits, because it was just easier to get into the gaps by cutting several pieces. Now this is not going to be as strong as the craft card, but it will sort of do the job enough for you to see the technique that I've been using. The reason for this is because I want an inked background, which is behind the flower, the bloom itself. We're nearly there. Nearly there. And to do that, you need to mask off as much as you can. Because I'm quite heavy-handed, I suppose is possibly the word, with my brushes, I kind of felt like anything that was too thin, which possibly this might be, but we're going with it, would just lift when I'm sort of going over with my brushes. So, okay, little mini fix there, and I'm just going to disappear off the camera for a minute. I'm just going to grab my adhesive and give this a very quick spray off camera. Not just because I haven't got my thing out and it's quicker to just do it like that. Right, so I've got some temporary adhesive onto this. I'm just going to let it do its thing for a second. And that one needs to go down. And then we're going to lay this on here. We'll see how we get on with it. Right, okay. Now, what I have created are these stencils, if you like. And you can see that they are, I've used nesting squares to create them. And what they will do is create the three blocks of colour. So I'm going to start with the biggest one. Now, as you can see, it's bigger than the actual smaller, sorry, than the actual stamped image, which is absolutely fine. Because I want the blooms to be outside of the blocks of colour that we're applying. And I've chosen 3 purples. I've got milled lavender, which is what we're going to start with from the outside. Then I've got wilted violet, and then villainous potion, which goes right in the middle. So we're going to start. Bear with me, I'm just going to grab my inking mat. There we go. So I don't particularly want to go outside of the thing, but I'm not going to completely cover it. So I'm just going to take my time. She's famous last words. And I'm just putting some colour. And I'm not going right into the middle because I'm going to be adding more on. Now you can always look and see how far in you need to go, because this one will lie on top. So as long as I've gone just slightly inside, then it will be fine. And you can see this is why I wanted. Actually, the paper one's holding up better than the torn card one. Maybe a paper one would have been better in the first place. Who knows? But not to worry, we'll get the same effect. Like I say, just put that one back over. Just check that I've gone slightly inside where the next colour is going to go, so that it can blend together. And keep that one. That little leaf does not want to be in the right place. Okay, so I'm going to keep that one open because I might want to go back in to help blend a little bit. And then I'm going to just put this one down on the top, not taking the other one up for the moment because it gives me the exact position of where to stick this one down. A bit more tape. If you have stencil tape, it's probably better to use that than your low tack. So now we're going to do this one, and again we need to make sure that we have got enough, but we haven't gone right into the middle. So pesky one down there. Okay, I'll go around. Yeah. Whatever it was on my card that caught the embossing powder, I'm not sure, but it's definitely resisting there. Down, I'll do that. Okay, we'll just get this one and check we've come in enough, maybe a little bit more there. Okay, and then I'm going to put this one over there. Just going to put a couple of bits because this is quite wide. I'm not in any danger of going over the edges with this one. So this one is Villainous Potion. This is one of the newer ones, and this is quite a strong colour, so I'm just going to get rid of a little bit there. This is a really, really, really lovely deep purple we're getting in. So what we're kind of creating here is the sort of dark shadows in the middle, and then we'll paint the foliage in the middle a really nice kind of bright colour to contrast that. So I'm putting these on, and no doubt in a minute when I take these off I'll be going, oh no, I just need to blend. What I'm going to do now is take those off. Well, I've got a little bit of bleed over there, but I'm hoping I might just get away with that when I cut it. So put those to the side for the moment. Yeah, my little bit from my sentiment is getting stuck on stuff. I'm going to put that over there in a a place where I will forget where it is. Okay, so let's just move those to the side. I'm going to do a quick grip of my mat. Ooh, well, I would if I put the nozzle around the right way and didn't end up spraying my card. I'm also going to just check my hands. I'm just going to give them a bit of a spray so that I'm not then putting purple ink everywhere. Let's get that extra bit of water I sprayed over there. Okie dokie. One side, and then we're going to remove the mark. I hope the temporary adhesive doesn't. There we go. So now you can see there are little white bits, and that's why I need to. There you go. I knew there was a reason I should have left the inks out, because I do need to go in now with a very fine brush. Getting ahead of myself. This bit here, like I say, there's obviously something on the card that is not liking the ink. And it picked up the embossing powder. So I'm just going to get a little bit of wilted violet and a little bit. I've got quite a fine brush here, because what I'm trying to do is to just go in and fill in these little bits, because obviously I had to cut the mask a little thicker in places. So all I'm doing is just filling in any bits that need that extra little bit of colour. This is why I said when you do the mask, the finer you can make your mask, the less of this you'll have to do. And we've got bits in here. It's around these bits where you've got the sort of single sort of stem. Yeah, it's a bit of a faff, but actually I think it's worth it for the effect. I certainly don't mind doing it. To give me the effect that I want. And up in between these little stalks here. But you do need quite a fine brush. I'm looking to see sort of that's kind of where my line is, so I don't really want to go in any further with that colour. Just a little bit around here. And then I'm going to get my villainous potion and just do the same further into the middle, because there are a few bits in there that were covered with mask. Along like that on there, around these leaves. You just need to make sure you're paying attention to where the different areas come, if that makes sense. So you've still got that kind of square effect of the different colours. So put this bit in here. I'm sure there's some else down along the edge of this. Oh, I need a little bit more water on my brush here. Down along the edge of that stem there, and over on these ones here. Need some more water. It's a very, very fine brush. It's one of my watercolour brushes. There we go. Oh, looks like I've not gone quite far enough up with the wilted violet there, so we'll get a little bit more wilted violet in a sec. Clean that off and come up here with the wilted violet. And I think we got those done. Oh no, I can see one up there. A bit up there. Okay, so that's our sort of background almost done. I'll add the lines at the end when we finish cutting. So let's just clean the ink away. I haven't got my rice paper out, so we'll just do it with a bit of tissue. Okay, so I still need my water. And now we are going to use our watercolour inks from Cosmic Shimmer. So I've got, this is Holly Green, which is pearlescent for the leaves. I've also got this yellow. This is Ray of Sunshine. I'm just shaking them because to mix the mica with the pigment. I've got this yellow because I'm going to mix the two for some of the leaves. Then I have this one. This is my purple. This is Glorious Grape, which doesn't have any mica in it. It's not a pearlescent one. So I'm going to put some Hixxy Sparkle Highlights, the Frozen Pearl in that. And then I'm going to mix a little bit of this Nearly Navy in for the centres of the flowers. So that's where we're going. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start by putting my inks into my little palette here. So now these have got a nice little nice glass bottle, and they've got a little pipette, a little stopper, and it allows you just to. And I'm going to put a couple of drops in a separate one so that I can mix my more sort of acid green. And this is the yellow that I'm going to mix with that. So we're going to put that in there. And then I have my, this is my Glorious Grape, not gorgeous, Glorious Grape, which we're going to put some Pixie Sparkle highlights in a moment. And then this is my Nearly Navy. And I'm just going to put a little drop in there. And then I'm going to mix that in with the Glorious Grape at the end to finish the flower. So I'm just going to literally add in a little, my little of the Pixie Sparkles to make that a little bit more shimmery. Now, with these, the shimmer will drop to the bottom if they're left in the palette, and you do need to mix them up. So what I'm going to start with is just the holly, and I'm going to do the more round leaves of the holly with this, and you can see just I'm not on the leaves. I'm not worrying about highlights. We're just going for the colour. So we're just going on these round. I can't think what they're called. This particular foliage. I have seen it before. So all of those. So there's one here. I can see I've gone over one there, so I'm going to just see if I can pick it up there. The well, this is the one. Do you remember where I got all that embossing powder in that I didn't want? And you can see it's just repelling it. So we'll just give it a little bit of a speckledy, mottled kind of look to that. Okay, so we're going to leave those for the moment. And I'm going to go on to the flowers. So we're using the Glorious Grape mixed with the Pixie Sparkles. And all I'm going to do literally is I'm going, oh, it's quite dark for what I want. So I'm just going to get water on my brush and just try and dilute that down a little bit, because I don't want it to be too dark in the middle. I want it to be quite light. So all I did when I realised is just rinse my brush off and just put more water on my brush rather than the the ink. I'm not even really paying much attention to where the petals are. I'm just filling with the colour. Okay, we'll leave that for a moment. Clean off the brush, and then we're going into this one here, where I mixed the ray of sunshine with the holly, what's it called? Holly green. And that's now going to make me a nice kind of much more acidy green, just so that the two different bits of foliage look different. We want something quite nice and bright against that really dark villainous potion that's in the middle box here. Okay. Okay. And then I'm going to mix a little bit of the navy, a little bit of the grey, just to create into quite a wide brush here, just to create. I'm just going to get a smaller brush rather than that great big one. We use this one we used earlier. And I'm just kind of, this time I am kind of just following the lines from the centre out. I've got a bit of a blob on that one. Trying not to end up just with kind of a blob, so to make it look like it's following those lines from the centre out, where you get the sort of darker effect. And same on this one. So bring it out. So just gives it a more of a centre to the flower. Okie dokie. Now, just get some of my grape. If I was at home, I'm trying to touch things up and making a hash of it. If I was at home, I would leave this to dry naturally, so that I'm not adding more heat to the card, but I'm not. So in a moment, I'm going to heat blast this. Kind of adding a different colour in here now, because I've gone in with almost neat grape, but I can live with that. Okay, so I'm going to move that out of the way. Give that a little bit of a white before I put that on, and I'm just going to grab my heat gun. And I just want it to dry off this ink now. And then once that's done, we can, I'll get bits of the card and we can put, how we're going to cut it down to fit. Quite easy to see when this ink is dried. Right, so there's our image. It looks a lot bluer than the one I did. Actually, that's okay. Quite like that. Right, let's get the card. Ooh, fingers and thumbs. This will be where I find that other bit of the stencil in a minute, the mask. Right, so let's get rid of that. I have a base card and my mats and layers. So I kind of need this to fit in. So I'm going to get my my guillotine, and I'm going to start. I'm just going to give it a bit of a look at what I did there. And now my first thing is going to have to be cutting to avoid this. Although might just be able to get away with that. Putting a the sentiment there, so that might work okay. So all I'm doing for the moment is just cutting it round. I'm going to see if it fits in a moment. So I'm kind of doing it by eye, and then we'll see how we go. Oh, it's still a little bit big. So what we're going to do is we can go around and take a little slice off of each edge. It's not always, if you're cutting a mat or a layer, you can always kind of go from like the corner, and it's easy to measure. But when you're trying to cut something out from the middle, it's not always that straightforward. Let's see how we've done with this. Oh, looks like I've got a bit of a wobble with it as well. Oh, look, my hands. Look, I managed to get that all over there. But that will fit, so I'm happy with that. Now, what I would say is, as you can see where I've heat embossed and then dried the ink, it's buckled a little bit. So at home, I would stick this to this, and then I would put it under some heavy boxes to flatten. So the glue, I would put quite a bit. I'd get a fair amount of glue because that's adding moisture back into the card, and then put it under like I say, a few boxes, and then that will help to flatten it. But I don't have time to do that, so we're just gonna go with it. I'll tell you what I haven't done though, which I will do once this is stuck. I'm going to grab a piece of paper, get this to stick down. I'm going to put the piece of paper over, and I'm going to grab my brayer, and that will at least help us to get as flat as we can without putting it under heavy weight. It is just one of those things when you are yeah, I managed to make it a little bit. Sorry, I'm just faffing now because it moved, and so it wasn't sort of even all the way around, which was going to do my knotting a little bit. So let's try that again. My finger. Right, we'll go with that. Like I said, it's not going to be perfect because it really needs to be pressed after all the buckling. Now, the one thing I haven't done, which I'm going to grab now, is I've got a black sort of liner pen, and I'm going to go round these squares. You can see I've not cut this straight, but it's not a problem. I'm going to go round the edge of these lines, and I am not using a ruler. This is all completely freehand, and it doesn't matter if it's not straight. That kind of adds to it. I'm not deliberately making it not straight. I'm just drawing the line, and it naturally won't be straight. I defy anyone to draw a completely straight freehand line. It just then defines the different sections of the background, almost like a matte layer. But it's all one layer. Okay. And then this needs to go on the card. Let's get that on the card, and then I need to grab the sentiment to stamp. And hopefully I've still got that little bit of card somewhere. But, oh, I've got two. That's interesting. There's two bits of card. Work out which one is the right one. Oh dear. Everything's all over the place. I'm going to get rid of that stencil that's caused me so much agony. And I have also, oh no, that's the back bit. That's not the bit to stamp in. And then this is the bit to stamp. Here we go. And what are we going to use? have a look. We're going to use the happy birthday. Grab the stamps. There's the happy birthday. Get a little block. A little one. Two. And we'll get our versafine. And put that on there. And I'm not going to emboss that, so I'm just making sure I don't put my fingers straight on it. Otherwise I'll smudge it before it's dried. And then that, a little bit of 3D glue gel is going on there. Oop. There we go. So there we have our 1-layer card with we've masked partly successfully, and we stenciled through, and then we used that lovely Julie Hickey Garden Blooms stamp. There's there'll be a few more videos on our YouTube if you have a look, using this, another one using this one, and a few others using some of her other new stamps from this range. So be sure to check them out and subscribe to make sure you're updated when we put new videos on. Thank you for joining us.